I will say this. I think that if you take a look at the AI complex, once again, people keep thinking, when will NVIDIA move? When will NVIDIA move? Is NVIDIA's chart bad? I had someone ask me if NVIDIA's chart was bad last night. How's the chart, NVIDIA?
What'd you tell him there, Jim?
I said, I don't know. I think the company's doing a really good job. That often plays a role in the chart.
Yeah, Jim, yesterday, by the way, Russell, year on year, 26.4%, biggest annual gain in several years. It was Yardeni yesterday, Jim, who argued small caps not doing as well as mega caps, argues maybe this rate path is not going to be as dovish as some people think, or as the bond market thinks.
Well, look, Ed is absolutely right. That would be the conclusion you reach. What I think is happening is there are different things occurring at this very moment with some of the mags, not the others. I really feel like the Tesla's reaccelerating. I think that Amazon, if you go through the FedEx lines, you'll see that e-commerce is stronger than they thought. Stronger. That reads very well for Amazon. Remember, they're not clients, but Amazon, that is just a one-for-one tell, and I really like it. So I see some things that I really think are good. I think the Apple launch is going to be very, very effective. Tim Cook looked really good this morning. I always love the fact that people want selfies with him and he talks with them, but actually it's a remembrance that the company is absolutely loved. And then David, best for last, okay?
Yeah. What do you got?
David, Waymo. I don't want a human anymore. I want a Waymo.
Why is that, Jim?
Because they have no emotion. They don't want chit-chat. They don't want to ask me how I'm doing. They don't talk about the Eagles. They just drive. They don't hit anything. They don't seem to be tired at all.
Ask you about NVIDIA.
They don't put on the Eagles either. So you sit there and go,
no,
not
I mean,
the
they're
Eagles,
great.
man.
And you know what? Other than if I jumped into the trunk, which they can find, they'll find you, by the way, because they have cameras everywhere. I think it's such a more pleasant, safe experience. I'm all in Waymo, which makes me not want to hate Google as much.
The race to dominate the AI chip market has just taken another dramatic turn. Imagine this, a rising technological power coming head-to-head against an established giant, with geopolitical sanctions playing as much a part as the engineering marvels themselves. On one side, we have Nvidia Corporation, the undisputed leader in AI chips, famous for its GPUs that power everything from simple chatbots to sophisticated machine learning models. On the other side, ambitious Chinese firms including Huawei, Alibaba Group Holding, and Baidu are gearing up, aiming to carve out their own space in this highly lucrative market. But there's more beneath the surface. Significant challenges due to U.S. sanctions and technological gaps are turning this race into a storyline worth keeping an eye on. So, what exactly is unfolding in this high-stakes rivalry? Welcome back, everyone, to Investocracy.
Still a buy. Let's bring her in. Spear Invest founder and chief investment officer, Ivana Delvetska. So make the case. Why should I still like NVIDIA at these prices?
Well, Taylor, thanks for having me. We're at the very early innings of a major data infrastructure upgrade cycle. So we believe that there is going to be significant investment that will go into upgrading our current data centers to this accelerated computing technology. And we've really only seen the first generation of chips introduced so far. So what we believe will be happening is that there's going to be significant improvement from generation to generation. So as the Blackwell chip gets introduced later this year and next year, that's going to spur a significant step up in demand. So it's going to result in significant upside to earnings estimates.
It's interesting. One of another analyst that I read, Dan Ives over at Wedbush, he says, think of NVIDIA as it's like 9 p.m. at a party that's going until 4 a.m., right? Like you're in the really early innings of this. One other thing, though, that he talks a lot about is how NVIDIA has such a big lead. They're 2 or 3 years ahead of everyone else. How far behind, though, is a company like AMD? Can they catch up? How long will it take them to really close that gap with, of course, the big leader that is NVIDIA?
Well, Taylor, the interesting thing about AMD is that they do have a similar technology and a similar chip. The question is, how do customers plug and play with that chip? So it's not as simple where NVIDIA has built a whole ecosystem around using their chips. With AMD, customers will need to do that on their own. So that's really the big difference. But we see over time AMD also entering the market and gaining pretty significant market share. It's just that you have a growing pie, so there is going to be a big opportunity for both players to capture.
What a time to be alive. China, in a major move to pivot away from American technological dependency, is fiercely investing in AI infrastructure. but it's much like trying to build a skyscraper with a Swiss Army knife. From CNBC's report, we gather that Chinese tech powerhouses are trying to create a domestic alternative to Nvidia's gold standard AI chips. And why wouldn't they? Nvidia's server products, packed with advanced GPUs, are the gears driving new-age AI models essential for applications like chatbots. However, there's a twist in this tale: the United States' firm hand on export restrictions. Since 2022, the United States has not just played goalie, but has essentially parked a tank in front of the goalpost. The curtailment of Nvidia's advanced chip exports to China is proving to be a Goliath-sized roadblock. Wei Sun, a senior analyst at Counterpoint Research, noted, "Competing with Nvidia still presents substantial challenges and technological gaps, especially in general-purpose GPU. Matching Nvidia in the short term is unlikely." The technological chasm is widened further as some of China's leading companies like Huawei and Baidu end up on the U.S. Entity List, which translates to limited access to top-tier American technology. Now let's dive into some data. Chinese firms such as Byron Technology and Inflame have been making concerted efforts, but their GPUs are still not hitting the mark that Nvidia has set. Taiwan's semiconductor manufacturing company, TSMC, used to be China's go-to chip manufacturing partner, but U.S. restrictions have made this path less accessible. What's left? Domestic production via China's largest chipmaker, SMIC. The catch? SMIC's technology is generations behind TSMC's sleek, modern solutions. It's almost like pitting a race car against a horse and expecting the same level of performance. But before we go any further, if you want to keep up with Nvidia's latest updates and keep up with the stock market's latest news, you can follow our Twitter account. We post multiple times daily about the biggest changes and catalysts in the market. So click the follow button if you don't want to miss the newest market updates.
The things that I've read coming into earnings season, in the last couple earnings season, is trying to prove that AI has value, that companies are profitable, that they can return cash to shareholders, that they're able to monetize AI, that the proof is in the pudding. Are we there yet?
So I do think we're there yet, and the reason why people miss this is that the first wave of investments is still by companies that are currently leaders, like Meta, like Tesla, and they're really using AI to upgrade and maintain their current technology leadership position. We see companies like Google, for example, their business is under attack, right? The search business. So they're really going to have to invest significant dollars in this, even if they don't see the returns. Now, we're a few years away from seeing completely new applications for AI, which we expect to see, and chips like the Blackwell will enable those because we need significantly better compute power at a cheaper cost to be able to come up with new applications.
Adversity breeds innovation. Despite these hurdles, Chinese startups aren't throwing in the towel. They are getting creative, seeking funds, and scouring every nook and cranny for loopholes. An intriguing snippet from CNBC revealed that Nvidia's AI chips still find their way into Chinese markets through smuggling. This persistence underscores China's unwavering commitment to cement itself as a leader in global AI, despite the batons passed by the U.S. hurdles. Furthermore, let's not ignore the strides made by companies like China's Yangtze Memory Technologies Co. This tech firm has been making commendable progress in substituting foreign chip-making technology with domestic alternatives. Talk about resilience. Increased capital expenditure for AI infrastructure among Chinese tech giants foretells an exciting next few years. Indeed, they realize that if you aim for an Nvidia-sized prize, you'll need Nvidia-sized investments. One joke floating around the stock market floors goes, "How are AI chips like pizza? Everyone wants the best slice." While Nvidia has been serving up the delectable high-performance slices everyone craves, Chinese companies are pooling resources, hoping their next batch of AI chips can stir some appetite in the market. As we delve deeper into this narrative, one can't help but notice another layer of complexity: intellectual property dilemmas. Chinese firms have had a rocky history with IP issues, often prompting rigorous scrutiny from Western companies and governments alike. This can act as a double-edged sword. While the need to innovate indigenously can spark brilliance, it can also lead to parallel paths of technological growth that may or may not meet Western benchmarks. Additionally, there's the aspect of talent acquisition and retention. To compete with Nvidia, Chinese companies also have to ensure that they are attracting the best minds in the business. This involves not just high salaries, but also offering a vision of technological grandeur that rivals the allure of Silicon Valley. Often, these firms have to build not just chips, but also the culture that fosters groundbreaking innovation. But before going any further, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
It was bad last night. How's the chart, Nvidia?
What'd you tell him there, Jim?
I said, I don't know. I think the company's doing a really good job. That often plays a role in the chart.
Yeah, Jim, yesterday, by the way, Russell year on year, 26.4%, biggest annual gain in several years. It was Yardeni yesterday, Jim, who argued small caps not doing as well as mega caps, argues maybe this rate path is not going to be as dovish as some people think, or as the bond market thinks.
Well, look, Ed is absolutely right. That would be the conclusion you reach. What I think is happening is there are different things occurring at this very moment with some of the mags, not the others. I really feel like the Tesla's reaccelerating. I think that Amazon, if you go through the FedEx lines, you'll see that e-commerce is stronger than they thought. Stronger. That reads very well for Amazon. Remember, they're not clients, but Amazon, that is just a one-for-one tell, and I really like it. So I see some things that I really think are good. I think the Apple launch is going to be very, very effective. Tim Cook looked really good this morning. I always love the fact that people want selfies with him and he talks with them, but actually it's a remembrance that the company is absolutely loved. And then David, best for last, okay?
Yeah. What do you got?
David, Waymo. I don't want a human anymore. I want a Waymo.
Why is that, Jim?
Because they have no emotion. They don't want chit-chat. They don't want to ask me how I'm doing. They don't talk about the Eagles. They just drive. They don't hit anything. They don't seem to be tired at all.
Ask you about Nvidia.
They don't put on the Eagles either. So you sit there and go,
no,
not
I mean,
the
they're
Eagles,
great.
man.
And you know what? Other than if I jumped into the trunk, which they can find, they'll find you, by the way, because they have cameras everywhere. I think it's such a more pleasant, safe experience. I'm all in Waymo, which makes me not want to hate.
So, where does this leave you, the keen investor? Frankly put, the stock market is brimming with stories, but few as captivating as this head-on clash between titans. As it stands, Nvidia remains the king of high-performance AI chips, with its stocks reflecting this dominance. However, the narrative unfolding in China offers an investment potential shrouded in hurdles, but also in possibilities. Current forecasts, despite the sanctions and technological hitches, indicate that Chinese companies like Huawei and Alibaba are ramping up their capital expenditure for AI infrastructure in 2024. As these companies navigate through restrictions and continue their relentless drive towards indigenous advancements, their stocks represent a high-risk, potentially high-reward scenario. Indeed, today, Nvidia's stock continues to be the safer bet, buoyed by its track record and technological prowess. But if one thing's certain, it's that underestimating the resolve of a nation keen on climbing the tech ladder could leave investors missing out on a future game changer. Now that you've got the lowdown, what's your take on this brewing rivalry? Will you stay loyal to Nvidia, or does the underdog narrative excite the investor in you? Let's talk. The stock market waits for no one. And finally, if you would like to know what companies like Nvidia have been up to these past few days, go ahead and click on the next video on your screen.